So, I know that we're probably going to get an answer for this probably next week come Comic-Con, or sometime this week for all we know. But yeah, I thought I would throw my hat in the ring and kind of talk about what is absolute DC. From all intents and purposes, it really does sound like, and again, I could be wrong here, it sounds like DC is trying to do their own Ultimate Universe. Which is funny because they're the reason we have Ultimate Universe to begin with. Back when DC announced Wildstorm and have a more realistic take on superheroes and and the world's reaction to them, Marvel looked at that and went, we could do that too, but with our own superheroes. And hence, in competition with Wildstorm, they created the Ultimate Universe. So now DC, seeing how well, because apparently Ultimate Marvel's selling really well, DC decided, you know what, we'll make our own Ultimate Universe. We'll call it the Absolute Universe. Okay. Now again, that's what it sounds like. We don't know anything for sure, but we do know that there are titles being announced, leaked, I should say, and there is writers already announced for certain characters. Some I'm like, oh, that sounds really cool. Others I'm like, I don't know. So let's go through the list real quick and talk about the titles that have been announced so far, or that have been leaked so far, I should say, for Absolute DC. Starting off, we have Scott Snyder on Absolute Batman. On one hand, I'm like, yeah, Scott Snyder has basically been, like, he was kind of the big thing that drove the New 52 universe and New 52 Batman. But I feel like Scott Snyder is just kind of a safe choice for a Batman title. And also, I feel like we've done enough with Snyder on Batman. I really do feel like we should have gotten a different writer outside of Snyder to do this title. I mean, don't get me wrong, he is a well-known Batman writer. I didn't like a lot of his stuff post the Court of Owls, but I do understand. Yeah, and also, like, I've read his other comics. Some of it, like American Vampire, great. And I do have other books, obviously Witches. He's great at horror. But again, I feel like that race has run with Snyder. I know there's a big Scott Snyder Batman fandom, and I got no problem with you guys. I just feel like we've run that race already. It just feels like we're going to be retreading ground with Snyder on Batman. Next up, we have Jason Aaron on Absolute Superman. Jason Aaron, I feel like, should have been the Batman writer, and before anyone says, oh, we should have had, if that's the case, put Aaron on Batman and Snyder on Superman. I've read Scott Snyder's Superman. It's not great. I've read the times he's written Superman. It's not anything to come home, to cry home about. But I just feel like Jason Aaron should have been the writer for Absolute Batman, but I am interested to see his Superman. I'm very curious to see how that will play out and see how that, I'm very interested to see how he'll play that out, because Superman is vastly different from the other characters Aaron has written. Thor, Punisher, Hulk for a short time, Wolverine, obviously, and he's also doing a Batman miniseries right now. He's mostly known for doing, like, characters who will kill if they need be. Not saying he'll have Batman kill people, although I do imagine he would send Batman to hell, because that seems to be a running thing in a lot of Jason Aaron's work. And who knows, maybe he'll send Superman to hell, too. So to see a character who is kind of off, far from what he has done, like, again, Conan, Thor, Wolverine, to see a character who embodies a lot of hope and whatnot is kind of an interesting pick. So I am curious to see, at the very least, and I know he is writing action comics right now, and I do want to read his action comics. I know he did I think he did a quick story arc with Bizarro, but I do want to read that Bizarro story arc he did to kind of gauge if I'm like, I don't know, is this going to be good or not? Next is one I'm very excited for. Kelly Thompson on Absolute Wonder Woman. Kelly Thompson is slowly becoming, let me remix that, quickly becoming one of my favorite writers in comics after how well she did Black Widow. She also, I've read some of her Deadpool. I'm dying to read her Scarlet miniseries. So to have her on Wonder Woman, I think that's a perfect pick. I don't think she's written. I don't think she has written Wonder Woman yet. So to see her on this is really cool. Although I will be honest, I kind of wish she was writing The Question or another spy character, or like a spy character, or even Suicide Squad would be kind of cool. Anyway, next up is the next three are ones I'm like, ooh, these should be fun. First up, Al Ewing on Green Lantern. Al Ewing is again one of those writers who's quickly becoming one of my favorite writers over at whatever he does. I'm currently reading Immortal Thor. I'm almost done with that, so be prepared for a review on that sometime in the near future. I really, of course, he wrote one of the greatest Hulk runs of all time with Immortal Hulk. His Venom, I'm not a big fan of Al Ewing's Venom. It just doesn't feel right to me. But everything else he's done, I've really enjoyed. I've really been enjoying it so far. And to see him do Green Lantern is going to be really fascinating to see if it's... I just have this weird feeling it's going to be like a mixture of his Thor mixed with his what he's best known for, which was Judge Dredd. And if you've read his Judge Dredd work, you might know where I'm going with this. Next up is a character I didn't think would get another ongoing for a long time. Absolute Martian Manhunter. Written by Dennis Camp, who I have never heard of. I've never heard of this guy, but it is cool to see, like, maybe this will be a great comic, because again, it's really cool to see Martian Manhunter get an actual comic again, even if it is like almost like, again, if we are to assume the Absolute Universe is like Ultimate Universe version of DC. This will be fascinating. I think for the character alone and new writer, could be fascinating to read. But again, if anyone knows who Dennis Camp is, please let me know. Maybe I've read his work and I just haven't noticed, but who knows. And finally is the one that made me go, after Al Ewing on Green Lantern, I went, ooh, that will be fun. Jeff Lemire on Absolute Flash. I am so in for that idea. For some reason, though, I do feel like his Jeff Lemire, his Flash, will be something like Cy Spurrier's Flash, where it'll be kind of bizarre and going new places with the Speed Force. But who knows? But Jeff Lemire on the Flash, I was like, ooh, that's an interesting pick. I really want to read that. But the two I think I am most excited for is, like I said, Jeff Lemire, Absolute Flash, and Absolute Green Lantern by Al Ewing. So that will be fascinating. Again, I'm wondering if this is like for all like these little snippets we've got, it does sound like the Absolute comics will be like their own Ultimate Universe. And it does make me wonder if there's going to be other titles under the Absolute line. Like, are we going to get Absolute Justice League or Absolute Swamp Thing? For that one, I really hope we get like a good horror writer for that one. Like, maybe bring back Tynion to do Tynion to do this book. I'd actually love to see James Tynion do like Absolute Swamp Thing, and I do. Yeah. Anyway, so there you go. Again, I will talk more about the Absolute Universe or Absolute DC line when we get more information. But right now, you guys tell me in the comments below, what do you guys think of this Absolute line on a whole? Do you guys think it's a Ultimate Universe for DC Comics, or do you think it's something else? Also, what do you think of the titles so far? Like, what writers, creative writers on characters are you most excited for? Like, are you excited to see Snyder back on Batman, Aaron on Superman? Yes, just comment below, let me know. Other than that, hope y'all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse. Oh, one more thing before I go. I really do hope we get not only an Absolute Swamp Thing, I hope we get like a absolute line on The Question. I would really love to see them a new Question ongoing, even if it is like a different universe. Or as for like who would be the writer, I kind of want to see like what would Ram V would do with The Question. I'd like to see what Ram V would do with The Question. Or please get Daniel Warren Johnson on it. I know he's a busy man, but like maybe Absolute Lobo by Daniel Warren Johnson. A Lobo book by Daniel Warren Johnson. Oh my god, someone do that. If someone call him now. But I digress. Anyway, now for real, I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.